Okay, so today we are going to go over graphing in intercept form. This can also be called factored form. So your objective for today is that you will be able to graph quadratics that are in intercept or factored form. So the rules we're always going to follow, so our quadratics are already going to be factored for now. You won't have to factor them. So you're going to set each set of parentheses equal to 0 and solve for x. Your answers are going to be your x-intercepts, and we'll plot them on our x-axis. Then you add together your x-intercepts, the x values of them, and divide by 2. This is finding your point in the middle, and it gives you your x value of your vertex. Then you plug this x value back into the equation to find the y value of your vertex, plot that, and draw your parabola. So we'll go through some examples. So for this first one, we have y equals x plus 1 times x minus 3. So your first step is always set them, each set of parentheses equal to 0. So we have x plus 1 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. Solve for x. So we subtract 1, so we get x equals negative 1. So that means our x-intercept is negative 1, 0. And x equals 3. So our other x-intercept is 3, 0. So we're going to graph those. I mean, you can also look at this and right here's the middle. So our vertex is going to be at x equals 1. Or you can do, because this works every time, 3 plus negative 1 divided by 2 gives you 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So now we're going to plug this 1 back in. So our vertex is 1 something. So we get y equals 1 plus 1 times 1 minus 3. So we have 2 times negative 2, which is negative 4. So we get 1, negative 4. And that's your vertex. And then you can draw your parabola. If there's a negative sign in front of this whole equation, it means that your parabola opens downwards, just like we did with vertex form. So next we have negative 4x times x minus 2. So if there's no parentheses, you're going to set the x term equal to 0. But pretty much if it's not in parentheses, then that x always equals 0, because then you do 0 divided by negative 4. So one of our x-intercepts is 0, 0. So that's not no solution, it's 0, 0. Then we have x minus 2 equals 0, x equals 2. So we have 0, 0, and 2, 0. Again, we can see that 1 is in the middle. Or you can do 0 plus 2 divided by 2 gives you 1. So we're going to plug in 1 because our vertex is now 1 something. So we have negative 4 times 1 times 1 minus 2. So negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. So we have 1, 4. And it makes sense because we have this negative sign in front, so our parabola opens downwards. Next one, we have negative 2 times x plus 1 squared. So we're going to set this x plus 1 equal to 0 and get x equals negative 1. So our x-intercept is negative 1, 0. But now I'm seeing there's only one x-intercept. So that means since it's squared, this is your vertex. So it's either going to bounce off there or bounce off underneath. We know it's going to be the second one that's like this because we have this negative sign in front. So now this already is our vertex. So we're going to find the y-intercept or choose another point, say 0, which is what we're going to choose to do the y-intercept, and then use our axis of symmetry once again to find another point. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. 0 plus 1 is 1 squared times negative 2. You just get negative 2, so we have 0, negative 2. Count it one space from the axis of symmetry, one space this way, and graph it. Now, we'll do the next example before I say this. So Once again, x plus 4 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. So we have x equals -4, x equals -2, -4, 0, -2, 0. Graph them, find the middle point. It's going to be -3, or you can do -4 plus -2 divided by 2. -6 divided by 2 is -3. Plug that back in. We have negative times -3 plus 4 times -3 plus 2. -3 plus 4 is +1. -3 plus 2 is -1. So we have -1 times 1 times -1 gives us +1. Once again, it opens down because of this negative sign. So just one more thing I want to talk about. You can always, as we were doing before, changing like our equations from standard form to vertex form and vice versa. If you have the factored form, all you have to do to get to standard form is multiply this out. So like we've been doing. So x plus 4 times x plus 2 is x squared plus 6x plus 8. And then we have to distribute in this negative in front. So it's -x squared minus 6x minus 8. You could also convert that to vertex form by completing the square. We won't really be doing that though. And just if you see, so let's say you had to match graphs. If you see this equation, you would know your x-intercepts are at -4 and -2, and this means it opens downward, so that could help you match a graph. Your x-intercepts, you might see them called different things on different worksheets. They can be x-intercepts, zeros, points that cross the x-axis, but people always get confused on what zeros are. Zeros are x-intercepts. So we're going to talk about this more in class tomorrow. Come with any questions you have.